Hi and welcome to this special tutorial. So many of you liked the picture of my cherries, and I will now try to teach you how you can do them by yourself. First of all, you need a reference image, of course, and this is the final reference image that I use, but you of course have a lot to look at Google. So just write cherries, select tools and size large, and you will see the reference image here, and it points to Northwest Cherries. I don't know if they have the original, but now you know where the source is from. And when I have found a picture like this or a site like this, then I have a lot of variations to look at. So I select these, but we also have pink ones, we have almost the same colors, we have some variations in colors and so on. So I like to keep these sites just to look at in the future, so I can verify that I do everything correctly when I look at the material and when I model. So we will keep it, but go back to Blender right now. And the first thing we should do is just concentrate on the shape. The shape, when it comes to cherries, is very easy, and that was partly why I chose that to begin with, because I was interested to show you how to make the material. But we will start right away. So just take away the box, Shift A, and add a UV sphere. That will be the base for the cherry. We can zoom in a little bit, and after that just press Tab and we go in and start to edit. Select Enable, Smooth is OK, Alt, select an edge below so we can take it down here a little bit, press S for scale, and we scale it until we think it's okay. Here's something like that, I believe. Okay, and then we need to go down on the top a little bit, so we have selected verticals and select the first one and just press G set and go down so you get that little hole in the middle of the fruit. Okay, almost finished. And the last thing I've seen is, as I said, it's like a seam going from here to here, where it goes in just a little bit. So what we're doing is select the edge, take that edge, and go down here some like there, about hold Control down and press, and you will get a seam like this, and then you just scale it down a bit. So S, go down, not much at all, just something like this. I think that will be perfect. Okay, and the last thing we will do is just to place the cursor where the stem will be. So just press set so it will be visible inside. Select the vertices and just click on the one in the middle here. So you have that, mesh, snap, cursor to selected. Now you have a perfect place to start your stem from. Press set again, go back, tab, and we can now add some subsurface just to see the end result. So subdivision surface, and just smooth, and yes, it looks like a cherry, but it has no colors yet. Okay, so we can take that one away. Just press on the eye so we don't see that, and press flat again. Okay, now we should do that part. So just Shift A, mesh, cylinder, scale it down, S, scale it, and scale on the Z axis, so S, Z, and just drag, and it could be even more, so just continue, something like that. Okay, if we look at this picture very closely, you can see it's going out just a little bit here, and it's a little bit thinner here, but it's following the complete way in a even way, so we can just start at the top and then make it thinner using the proportional editing. So we just go first an object, apply scale, so we start at the correct scale for that one. Press tab to go to edit mode, select the top, and then we scale it down, S. It doesn't have to be much, just so we have something. And then in the bottom it goes out a little bit, so we can do that as well. And now we need some loop cuts slide, so press Ctrl R and add 21, perhaps too much, but we can use that. We don't have that much polygons, so it's no problem at all. Hold on Alt and take the last one, S for scale. And now before you do that, look, so we go down a bit with the scale here. Now we can press scale a little bit, so okay, G set to take it down some, so okay, fine, back again. Then we have done one cherry, so the next one is just to copy this one. So select both the cherry and the stem and Shift D and GY to take them out a little bit, and we will bend this part, so we select it, press tab, go in and Alt and this, and just G as a Y, and then we go up with this, bend it a little bit like that, and perhaps we should drag the other one at the top, so go near, press Alt and GY on the other direction, something like this. Okay, I'm back, and now you can just select both of these and rotate them a little bit so they are leaning against this one, so R, X, and then move it GY, G set to go up a little bit, GY again, and then we can rotate this one as well, so mark those two and rotate X and GY, something like this. We will have the camera correctly placed, so zoom out this one and then view, camera, press N, lock camera to view, and then it's just to try and place the cherries as we want to have them. Yeah, something like that should be enough. So take away lock camera from view, and now we are finished with the first. So if you select that one and you press that smooth here and do the same to that, you can see that we have a base. We have the cherries on place. So good thing now would be just to save it, so we have it before we go into the next part. Okay, so now we have the shape, but we also need light and reflection on our cherries, especially when we are doing the material. So if we look right now, rendered, it's quite gray and boring, nothing else to show here, and we would like it to have at least some white to begin with, because it's easier to build the material then. So what we need is a background image, and if we look at this background image, it's rather blurry, and that we of course can do rather easily, but we also would like to have good reflection on the cherries as well as the droplets. So what we can do is combining two different backgrounds, one that is visible for the eye and one that is visible for just the render engine, so to say. So all the rays are calculated against the other background that we can't see, but will give a good reflection here and a good color. So what we will do now is add another window and select the node editor, and after that we will go into Word, use nodes, background, environment texture, and we will select some good image. And to have a good image, I found this one on HDR Haven, which have green and brown inside and will give a rather good reflection. You could download it in different sizes. I suggest at least that size, but okay, when you have downloaded it, it's time to put it in here. So just add open, select it wherever you have put it. See what I have done here. HR Haven and Tiergarten. And if you now press rendered, you will see that you have it in the background. But we would like to have that background and not this background. We would like to have the reflection from this background, but we will not see it. So how to do? Yeah, we have edit node here. So now click on the word icon, and when you're doing that, you will get the nodes for the background setting. And right now we already have the background for the reflection, and now we will have that background. And the easy thing we can do is just to take that background from this reference picture. So let's do that. Just environment texture and copy, Shift D. We take the background as well, Shift D, and we connect those. And now we open that reference image. So if you don't have downloaded it already, please download it, and then just we put it in here. So open, and I don't know exactly where you put it, but I think I put it here somewhere. There we have it. And now we combine these, Shift A, shader and mix shader, put them together, and you will see that now you see some part of that image and some part of Tiergarten. And now we have to do some special trick here, so to say. So as input, you select light path, and in light path you can find a lot of things, but you can also find is camera ray. So select is camera ray, and now you have a selection that says that okay, we will look at this picture when we have the render result, but the calculation, all the reflections, all the light on this cherry will be done with the Tiergarten picture instead. The only thing we also need to change is the hideous look of the background, because it's not looking like this at all. and that is because it's way too big and that it's have the wrong place and so on. So we could map it a little bit by adding Shift A, input texture coordinate, and then again vector mapping, connect generated to the vector and connect vector to the vector. And now we have a playground where we can change the rotation and scale and everything. So by moving things here we can select an area that is okay for us to look at and looks almost similar to the picture that we have. And we can also change a little bit scale and so on, so we get something that looks okay. And perhaps like this. The next thing you see is we have all these things here, and of course we can go down in scale, but then the risk is very large that we get the cherries as well, which we don't. So another way around is to fake those holes here, or the yellow thing. So we add another shift color and mix RGB here, and then we add a rather yellow color like that, something, and to it we connect something that will change between the yellow color and the source color. By that we can just add a texture, so texture masquerade here, put it out here so we have something to work on, and we take the FSC from that part to this part, and now you can see we can now play around a little bit with things here. So now you see we can try to get it to look a little bit like the reference image. Something like this could be okay. You can of course do it more yourself until you are completely satisfied, but this is how you do it. So now the Tiergarten will give all the reflection, will be the one image that we're working with, and this will be the visible render background, but we will not have the reflection from this one. So you reach it by that one, and the next thing we will do is of course starting on the material. So we select the object here and go to the cherry. Select solid so you can see that we have selected the cherry here. Then you can go back to rendered again, and you can press new and rename it to cherry. Now we have one material output, we have diffuse, and that's normal. What we now would like to have is a glossy, I believe, and I also think that we should change the diffuse to subsurface scattering, since it's organic material and it will have some rays shining through some of the area here. So take away the diffuse, Shift A, shader, and add a subsurface scattering instead, and here Shift A, shader, and add a glossy and something to bind them together, a mix shader like this. And now we can change the color here, and it will be red, but it will also be very glossy. So we have to change that, and I think what we can do is first of all take the glossy down really much. It's almost like a mirror here, but not quite. So something like this. We can even go down to a number like this, I believe. Then we can change up here. We can do it like this, try to get it correctly, or so Shift A, input Fresnel and put it here. If you haven't worked with Fresnel in this case before, then you have parameter here, IOR, index of refraction, which decide how much the rays will be bent when it's going through the material. So with this value it reflects not that much, but if I go up it reflects a lot. When you go out to the web you can find exactly the number for water, for glass and for everything, but I couldn't find anything for cherry. So I had to experiment a little, and finally I found that if I use a value of 1.6 I get exactly what I want here. Right now it looks very much and that's not strange. Let me see. 1.6. Okay, much better. But we need to do more than this. This is very plain and we would like to have it more like this. And now how should we build those? We can do like this, that we use one texture for the big picture, so to say. And Musgrave is really good at that one. And we will also have a picture or a texture for the small things, the small dots you have everywhere. So, and that will be noise. Noise is always good for small things that we should connect. And those I believe we could mix together. So color, mix RGB, and you have one here and you have one here. And I think I will change this one to color ramp instead, using different red variations. So I add another converter here, a color ramp converter, and I make that part dark red, almost brown, and I make that part less, something like that. Now we have we can put these here. So we have the subsurface scattering, so we just connect those two. And now we should also be able to use my thought of changing the colors here in some way. I keep this mix here, but I disconnect this right now, and instead I add color for bright and contrast and put them together like this. I will show you. First of all, we use this color right in here, and then we use a mix. We need to mix two colors, so we use a mix RGB. Now we have a little room here, so we need to move things a little bit. So we get some space. I will put this one in here because the end result will go into the color, so we know what to work with. And we take that one to the low one and that one straight here. And now perhaps you can see what I'm trying to do. I will take this here and connect to the FAC here to let the texture decide how much I will use of that road and how much I will use of this road. So I connect those two, but this one is yellow and that one is gray, and I have no way to change that here, so I just add a converter, RGB to black and white, like this, that one to that one. Since I'm looking for darker spots, I will go down a little bit with the brightness, and I will also go down a little bit with the contrast. And now you see I can take it a little bit like this, so you really see that it's getting darker now. Then I go back I think I will put it here about, and the contrast also a little less, minus 0.1, something like that. Now let's see what we can do here. If we start with the Musgrave, because I don't want those spots, I want them to be a little bit larger and so on. So I will change this to, yeah, why not, 4.1, and we could go up a little bit in details. Yeah, perhaps something like that. Okay, and then we need to change the noise, so we go to the other way, could save between, just to be certain, and perhaps take that one up. Okay, something like this perhaps, and some distortion as well, so it looks a little bit. And then, as I said, we would like to have some of the Musgrave, but not so much. So we go down a little bit, yeah, something like this. I think that will be good. We will use exactly the same material for that one as well, but we will still use different colors, and that's why we have a color ramp here. I start now by just copying to this one. So I go back to solid, select that one, and if I go down, I have the Cherry here, and then I can go to render again. And now I have two Cherries looking rather good, but they have exactly the same color here and here, so we will change that. There are different ways to do that. If we're working with, let's say, 20 or 100 different Cherries, we could use a random number, and that's very easy to do. You press Shift A and you use input, and you have object info here, and as you can see, you have random, so you just connect random and then you get two different. But in this case we only work with two, and in some cases, like in this case, they are very close to each other, so you don't see the difference so much. So in this case we perhaps should steer it a little bit, and then you have object index, so you can connect object index here instead. Okay, still the same, but that could be changed rather easily, because object index is something that you can steer on this area here. So if we put solid, so you can see we can select that one, so on. If we select one of those Cherries, let's say the last one, and go into object, and we go into relation, then you have something called pass index here. And if you change pass index, that will be the number for object index. And since we only work with two, it will be 0 and W will be 1. So in this case it will be using that one and that one. But of course you could do some math between here to perhaps divide it by something, and like have 10 different Cherries and then divide it by 10, and then you get 0 to 1 as well. But since we only use two, it will work here. We will have that one color and that color. So if I now go to rendered, you can see that you have one that is really dark and you have one that is really light. And if we look at that, we would like it the other way around, so we just press that one. And this one should be a little bit darker, so then we just change that to a little darker color, like this, something like that. Okay, now it really looks rather nice, but it's a little bit too shiny, and as we work with bumps, you will be, you know that we use the normal here, so we just Shift A, vector, bump, and connect the bump to that one and to that one. And since we're using the same material on both cherries, it will be directly on both as soon as we change something here. I think the easiest to use is this setting we have already. So we just take those, we can take the mix, we can take that one, it will fit perfectly. So just Shift D, copy those, go down a little bit, and move them up something, and put value to height. And immediately you see that we now have very old cherries, not a good sight. But we will change these values and it will be a lot better afterwards. So what should we do? We could change the scale for this one, and I think we take it a little bit higher. We can take save before, as I said, if we go up a little bit. We could perhaps, reset some of these as well, so see how it looks like. Perhaps take that one up again. It's much, when playing with it, always look at the picture. How does it look? Should we change something more? Manual work, always look closely at your reference to see, so you get something that could be good at the end. I don't know, something that looks more, it looks better. And the only thing we have to do now is we have to lessen it. It's way too much right now, but that we don't do here. That was just a pattern, and now we have to decide how much we will have of it. So we go down and we go down and down, looking closely to the end picture, and we'll see. Okay, now you can barely see it here, so now it looks okay. It will affect the reflections, but it looks like a new cherry. And perhaps we should change this one just slightly. We go down even more. Now we have a really good pair of cherries, I think. Of course, you can play a little bit more with these, but I think it will be okay to render it from this setting. We will take the stem later on here, but before we do that, I think we should try to get all these reflection in good places as well. So how to do that? Today we have a lamp here, so we just delete that one, and instead we are going to add planes as light here. So we can just Shift A, mesh plane, and let's see if we can get it right here. I think we should go a little bit. See the camera here, and the light is there, so we should move this little bit here and go up a little bit. G set and rotate it a bit. Rotate Y, RY, and also rotate set something. If we look at the camera view again, view camera and render. Okay, now we have to put some emission on that one as well. So we go to material, new, and call it light or something like that, and change from diffuse to emission, and start really high so we can see where it are. Okay, where it is. So we have that spot and that spot. We should move that a little bit further to right, I think. So GY, following the spot. Could rotate it a bit. Rotate, set. And move it away again, even more. GY. I think we could stop there. And we could take down this a little bit. Something like that. And change the color so it matches. So a little bit more of the yellow browns. So then we have that one. Very easy. And then we do the same with this and this one here. So another, we can take solid again, and we make another plane. Shift A, mesh, plane. I think that is coming from the above more, so G set to go up a little bit, and we should also move that towards the camera, so GX, and that is about 3 times as big. We could of course put it 3 times closer, but just scale it up S3 like that. You could also see that it's not a square like that one. It's more round and it's oval, so we perhaps should change the shape of this. So we can do that easily by just do one subsurface subdivision like this one. We could rotate it, and I believe we have to move it a little bit more. GY. Then we have a start position to work with. So now we go to camera view again, and we add render, and we also need to add some material on this one, and I think we could use the light but do a new one, so we can change them individually. And now you can see you have the spot here. It's small, so perhaps we should go down with it. So G set to make it bigger, and we could also rotate this RY, I think. Okay, and now when we rotate it, you can see that we have to go up a little bit again. And we need to make it much larger. So we use solid here. Just a minute, and we put that closer to this one. So just GX and GZ, go down and rotate set, and we go into cam, perhaps even close. So G set G. So you see, we have to play a little bit with the values here to see where you can get it. So just I cannot instruct you more than that. You have to try. So we start. I will put mine here about, and I will go back to rendered, and it looks quite okay now compared to that one. What I have to do is perhaps make this a little bit more oval, so it's not quite round. So I scale it a little bit on that direction. FX. Twice. something like that, and play scale but not rotation, and render again, see if it looks better now. Yes, and then we will rotate it. Rotate. Press Z2 twice to rotate in local direction. Yes, now we are almost at the correct place. Okay. There we have it, and view camera. Okay. We should even have it a little bit closer, I believe, so we get the bigger. Now I think it's okay. Yes, now it looks like the cherry. We even have that thing there, and that is because of that one. So I think I'm satisfied with that one, but if we're now rendering, you will get the plane here as well, and we don't want that plane, so there is an easy way to get rid of that. So just go into the object again, and when you are in the object, you can tell in cycle settings down here what you would like to see. And if you take away the shadow and you take away the camera from the rendering, you can see that it's now disappeared here, but you can still see the reflection here. So very easy. Take away the camera, take away the shadow, and we have everything in place. Good. So now just save it again, and the next thing we will do is start by coloring the stems, because now we have all the lights on correct places, and yeah, it's just to work with the next material here. So what we have to do now is create the material for the stem. So we go to material and select new, and then we have the diffuse as usual here, and I think we could exchange that with the subsurface again, like this, and we could also add some type of glossy. So Shift A, shader, glossy, and so mix them together. Okay, subsurface, glossy, and shader. That is the base for it. And what I can see is that you have some reddish here, and then it's yellow, and it's going to be a little bit red at the top again. So it sounds like perhaps we should use a color ramp for that as well, and use the height for the object to change the color. So we start with the red and then yellow and so on. So we do as we have done before. We start with an input node, so input and texture coordinate generated, and then we separate it. So converter, separate, connect, generate to the vector. So converter and color ramp, set to FSC, and then we add colors, and I think we could have like 3 of those. Go up a little bit so you can see. Perhaps we should start with this one, and I think we could make it a little bit yellow, and next, yeah, not, we could have that one almost white as it is, because it gets whiter here in the middle, and in the end we could have some red. So we put some red, perhaps a little bit darker. I don't know, we have to try. We will have that going out a bit, I believe, and I think we can change that to ease. If we put the color for that one and that one together like this, and now we go a little bit closer so we can see. Now it's evenly spread, and to make it a little bit here and a little bit there and so on, we should change so the height is flexible a little bit, and then we can use the Musgrave texture as we have done before. So texture, Musgrave, put it here, and we will mix those two. So we add a mix, and color mix in this case, color, and we'll take that one to here, and that one to here. It's black and white, both of them, so it's okay to do like that, and we connect that to that, and as I said, it's still black and white, so it's no problem. And now you can see it's all mixed up and hard to see, but if I take this one down a bit, we are now having the yellow in the bottom and the red in the top. And we could change the values a little bit to that one as well. So I think we can get even a little bit less with that one. And that is the height. We stop with the height right now and look a little bit more on the other parts as well. We can see we have some stains here, some on the sides, some stains there, and so on. And they are in color changing between red and yellow and so on. So we need to do another color ramp, I believe, and we could take that and mix it together with the color that we already had. So we go out a little bit. We can see we have glossy here. I think we can use a little bit yellow of the glossy as well. It will be less intense. What we will do now is, I think, add another diffuse. So we take a color ramp. So take that, and I change that one to red, and that we make darker, almost brown, I believe. If I look at the color, we have some brown as well and some yellow like that. Now we connect it to that, and I think we can use normal diffuse here. So Shift A and shader, diffuse, connect that color, and now we have to mix it with this color over here. So we just add a mix node between here. So Shift A, diffuse, mix shader here, and the mix shader here. And now we see, now we have we have a lot of things here that will change the stem a little bit. So now it's just amount of where to put it. So it will change how to change this one and so on. And that one we change with the same type of texture as here, because then we can get it scattered all over, but not as a noise, a little more controlled way, so to say. So we do a texture here, mascara texture, put it here, and connect the FSC from that to the FSC here. And now we have the possibility to do some small adjustments, and before we do that we can save again so we don't lose anything. And we could see if we can do this. Is very small adjustments, and you have to play a little bit with all these to get exactly the thing you want. You can see this is looking too sharp, so then we have to move it a little bit. So now we have a little bit here, a little bit there, and that's okay. And could also add a Fresnel here, so Shift A and input Fresnel and take it here. And so let's see how much we should have. I think we should have a little bit lower in this one, something like that. And now it's time to change the parameters, so we can. Now it's exactly where the camera goes, so we have to look a little bit where we should have the things here, but it's just play around a little with all the values here. Okay, now we have something that we could use, and of course, as I said, we can play with it a lot here to get all the details exactly as we want it to. Yeah, it could take for ages to find exactly the right. So we just stay there, and after that we also need some type of bump as normal. So we start with bumps over here somewhere, and I think we just do with noise. So texture, noise texture, and we add some. Since we're working with bumps, we could add the brightness contrast to then in two ways to decide how much bump, both in the height and also using the brightness and the contrast, and that could be good. And then we could connect it to the bump vector, but since that yellow and that is gray, we put a converter in between, so it will be RGB and like that into the height, and connect the height with all different types here now. So it will be to the glossy one, it will be to the diffused one, and it will be to the subsurface scattering up here. So now we can add some bumps as well and steer them here. And I think we should increase this rather much, like 20 or something like that, to get more bumps, and increase the brightness as well. And you can see now it's getting small things on the side here as well. And we can also increase the contrast a bit. And now you see it's, yeah, now you got something here. You can save. And we call that material something, stem, like that. And we use the same material for the other one, so we can see how it looks in complete. So select that, select the stem, and go back to render so you can see if it looks okay or not. it looks okay. We have something here, and perhaps we should do a render to see how it looks in reality, because it's always a small difference between the finished look and the render look here. A little bit too sharp on the red here, I believe, so we will change that. So we go back to 3D view and we go up and we do these a little bit darker. This is no science, as you can see. It's more looking at the ref picture and finding a good way, finding something that looks almost similar. Now we are very, very close, I believe. So what I will do is do another render to see that it looks almost okay. Yeah, I will not get stuck here by changing and changing until we get fed of it. So just move on. Then we need some drops as well on the cherry, and that we will do with metaballs. So press the cursor somewhere outside the camera, Shift A, metaball and ball. Then we have this one, and rename it to water drops. Then we have that, and go to the metaball here, and here you can also write water drops, and the resolution you can go down as low as you want to. It will be smoother, and since we're using rather few polygons, it's not that important, so just make it as nice as possible, and we can keep the threshold as it is. We also need a material on that one, and we will do it very easily. So we just add one, and we changed its surface to glass, but we use the IOR for water, so it's 1.333, something like that. And we could call this one water drops as well. Okay, so now we have water drops. We have done that, and now we have to put them on the cherries. So select the cherry, select the particle system, new, and this one you can rename to large, because we will have a few large ones here, some medium and some small. So 3 different systems. And the settings for it will be like 10, something like that, the large ones. We put start and end to 1. We go to the object and select water drops. We put up the size to, let's see, something like 160, 180, and then some random size, like that. Rather large ones. It's okay like that. And then we rename this as well and call it just drops. Okay. Then we do another one, or we can change the drops large, so we know it's the large one. Okay. Then we do another one, so the plus sign, and we call this medium, and we select the large, drops large, and press the plus and rename this to drops medium. Medium, a little more, like, I don't know, 40 or something like that, perhaps, but not that big, so take them to 80, 90, something like that, perhaps like this. And the size you can see here, large and medium, and then we need the small one as well, so plus again, and we renamed it to small. We go to the drops medium, press the plus, and now we call it small. We could have about 60 perhaps. And we go down and put 0.6, something like that. Okay. And to change, now you saw that it's changed on the same place. So we change the seed here to like 3 for that one, and for this one perhaps 2, and for that one could be 1. Okay, now we have water drops on that cherry, and we will of course do the same on the other cherry as well, but we also would like to have the large drops at the bottom and not up here, so that we also need to change. It's very easily done. We just take object mode and go to weight paint, and in the bottom where we would like to have, we can go down a little bit with weight. We just paint a little bit here, so then the particles, then we can use that for the particle system and something like that, and perhaps even more in the far end. So like that, and object mode. And now on the large one we go to density and group, and now you can see all the large one will be at the bottom. Okay, do the same to this one. So go to the particle system, select a new one, name it a large, and then you can just take the drops large, and another one, name it to, take the drops medium, and you can name it to medium here, and the last one will be small, and here you of course will select drops small. And now we also want to have those drops at the bottom, so we just select weight paint here as well and start to paint a little bit in the bottom here, so like that. Okay, and go back to object mode, and on the large one we go down, density, group, and now you see it's in the bottom. Okay, now we can select view and camera, so we can see how it looks and run it like rendered. And we could take less of the big one, I think. So we're taking five would be okay, I believe so. We can also click on the meta ball and perhaps change the threshold just a little bit like this. If we go down like we do now, the drops will be a little bit more round, and if we go up they will attract each other and by that get a little bit smaller. So yeah, I think we take it on 500 like that, 0.5. Now it looks very green and it doesn't look as good as the image here, and that is because we don't have any light going from the direction behind to the drops, so we need to add another source of light as well. So go to solid mode, and there we have this plane that we used, and since you see the camera here, we will use an additional plane by just copy this one and move it here, and then I think we will get exactly what we want. So just Shift D and GX to move it a little bit, and rotate Z like that, and then you can see we also need to rotate it a little bit on the y-axis, and then go down a bit, something like that I believe would be good. So view camera again, and as you remember we have hidden that in the parameters here, so it will not be shown in the render, but the light will. And now you can see it's really high light, and it's okay. It could be that just now we're checking, and we can perhaps move it a little bit so it takes solid again. Just be sure that we have that selected, yes, and then can go to rendered and just press G to move, and you can move it until you find a good place to have at the back, so something like that. And now we have to scale down the light a bit, so we go to the material and press the plus and call this a light back or backlight, whatever, and we take down the strength a bit. Okay. Now we're close. Something like this. I think we could save, and I will do a quick render to see if it's okay. Okay, what we can see here is perhaps that we should go down a little on size on the middle ones. So we just go to preview here and solid, select one of those, and on medium we take the size, make it a little bit smaller like that I believe, and also on the small one we will make that like that I believe, something like, yeah, we try. Render again, and perhaps a little less of the large one, so to the large, and just, yeah, 4, and I will do just one render more. Fine, and what we now need is the smaller to be more than we have here. So back again. It's always like this. You have to try a little bit and then you see if it works. So be sure that you select Cherry. Yes. Go to render just to check. And small, perhaps 200 of those, and seed up, and we take down the size a little bit. And I will do a quick render again to see that it works. Okay. Now I think we are almost there, and the only thing left is also some light here, not that much, just a small hint. So we go to 3D view, solid, and I could take that one and take it a little bit closer. GX, and take it down a little bit and rotate it. I think that would be better. Yes, we can see that we get sunlight now on this. We can also increase the light a little bit. Something like that. Okay, save, and then we are almost finished. What we can do now is take this and do some post-processing as well. And to be able to do post-processing, you need to have a rendered version first. So I will go up to 100 and do a render. Now I'm going on a really low sampling here, but you can of course take it up yourself to a higher level if you want to, but we don't have the time to sit and look when I do a render completely here, so that's why I take this one. And it will go through the render, and as you can see, I think the surface on the cherry is really good here, so it's well done for us. And okay, we will now do some post-processing. So we have this cherry finished, and now we will go to compositing here. It's the second one. We press use nodes, we press backdrop, and we press auto render. And when we have done all that, and scale down a little so you can see, you will now find these two here. So as soon as you do a change here, it will immediately affect the finished picture. And all I will do is add some color balance and some glow on this one. So Shift A and filter, glare. You can connect that one. And if I now change here, let's say I go to threshold 0, you will see that the image will be changed directly. So it's very easy to work in this way, because you will always see the result when doing anything here. So we don't want too much, because then the realism is gone. But it's good to have some. So now we have some reflection here, as you can see, and we can also decrease the amount that it is glowing on. Yeah, so you see, okay, it's go up that just a little, and that is okay. You could also change the angle a little bit if you want to. And I think we will not do anything more with that. And after that, you can also add a color balance and put that in here. And here could change small values if you want to, let's say, have it a little bit more in contrast, just a little bit. That was too much. Now we are almost to the picture, to the ref image, and that is your image. We can take, I think we could go up a little bit with this one, just a tiny step. Something like that. Okay, and then it's just to save the image afterwards. The image, save as image, and you are fine. This is the final result, and this is the final result when we use the preview sampling frequency. So if you go up here, you will of course get better result, and you could also add some denoising and so on. But as you can see, it's going rather quickly to render right now, and it's not using so many polygons, and it's only these two cherries. So yeah, we get a decent result rather quickly when we do a render. We can do we can do many renders before we are satisfied. So fine tune back and forth and so on until you are completely happy with your result, and then let it go. Hope you learned something, and see you later. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.